Well, I gotta tell you, I grew up in Swissvale. I'm a blue-collar kid. My dad worked at Edgar Thompson and Braddock. My grandfather worked at the Cary Furnace. I worked 2 summers in the mill. That's tough work. I decided to go back to college. I just was coming in and listening to the radio, and I don't know how many of you have heard this morning, but the Department of Justice just filed criminal indictments against the Chinese government. They have directly tied 6 military officials from Shanghai who have actually hacked in to 6 companies, guess where? In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They hacked into U.S. Steel, to Westinghouse, Alcoa, Allegheny Technologies, the United Steelworkers of America. I got news for the Chinese. You picked the wrong city to declare war on. We've known for years that the Chinese have been cheating, and they always said to us, we'll prove it. Well, now we got direct proof. That case is going to be heard right here in federal court in western Pennsylvania, prosecuted by David Hickton, our U.S. attorney. We got the proof now. We are under siege. Right now, you see the Marcellus shale boom, and I'm thinking, boy, this is a great thing for our region. And when you think about the pipelines that got to be built to transport all that excess gas, we can't use it all here in Pennsylvania. That means a lot of good jobs for steelworkers. Family-sustaining jobs, the kind of jobs we want in this region. And I take a look at that pipe and you realize the South Koreans right now, as we speak, are making all this tubular steel. They're not going to use one single piece of pipe in South Korea. Their plan is to dump it all in this country and take away American jobs. I'll tell you what, we build any pipeline in the United States of America and don't use U.S. Steel and U.S. Steel workers, we ought to have our heads examined. It needs to stop. I am so tired of seeing us played as fools in trade agreements. I've never voted for a single trade agreement in the 20 years I've been in Congress because none of them ever benefited our country. They always benefit other people. We want a level playing field. Everybody hear about that Keystone Pipeline, huh? There ain't an ounce of U.S. Steel in that Keystone Pipeline. That steel come from India and Russia, and it got sent down to a non-union shop in Arkansas. I'm sick of this kind of stuff in the United States of America. Buy American agreements. You want to work in America? Buy America. You want to use pipelines? Buy U.S. Steel pipelines. Employ U.S. workers. We've got to get our trade policy right. When this case is proven against the Chinese, they ought to be kicked out of the WTO, and we're going to demand the Department of Commerce and the ITC to start giving us justice. And I'll tell you another thing needs to be done. We need to redefine the definition of harm in these trade agreements with the ITC. It's not fair to our companies that they have to be mortally wounded before they can bring a case before the ITC. And even when we win, we lose because some of these smaller companies go out of business. That has got to end. We need to change these definitions. This president and any other president, I don't care if he's a Democrat or Republican, the days are over where Congress is going to pass these trade agreements. And if any president thinks he's getting fast-track authority to just give us an up or down vote, they need to get their heads examined. Those days are over. We're not doing that anymore in the United States. It's time the United States Congress, it's time this administration and every future administration understand what their jobs are. Their jobs are to grow this economy. Their jobs are to grow jobs in the United States of America. Their jobs are to raise the standard of living for our kids and our grandkids, not to use our workers as tools in diplomacy. We need to go back down to D.C. and fight these fights. I will be there with the steel workers. I promise you, we're going to demand action from the Department of Commerce. We're going to go back to the ITC, and I look forward to our U.S. Attorney David Hickton filing the criminal charges and finding them guilty and giving us the proof once and forever of what's being done to American workers in this country. Let's stick together and let's fight these bastards.